Welcome, everyone. Today, I have Ben Hartley with me on the podcast. Ben Hartley is a photographer. He's an educator, speaker, and creative entrepreneur on a mission to help photographers build thriving businesses that fuel both passion and profit. As the founder of the award-winning studio Style and Story, Ben blends storytelling and strategy to elevate both his art and his students. Through his courses, workshops, and podcast, Ben delivers a practical, high energy approach to equip photographers with the tools to master marketing, serve generously, and grow a business that they love without burning out. So, welcome, Ben. Thank you for chatting with
Hi.
me today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Am I the one who's nervous? Are you nervous? I feel nervous.
You're not nervous. I don't believe that, not even for a
I
second.
do. Sometimes it's helpful for me just to say that I'm nervous, and that helps to get me out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I always say if you don't say you're nervous, no one else knows. So if
Yeah.
you wouldn't have told me that, I wouldn't have believed it. You're so outgoing. That's what I was just telling Ben right before we hopped on. We met briefly at a conference and he was just like, "Hi, I'm Ben. I'm here speaking. Are you speaking?" Da, 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 da. And we just, chatted really briefly, but yeah, you just strike me as someone who is very outgoing and also would be the perfect person to talk about marketing because even just knowing that you are nervous doing something that could be considered marketing, right? Podcasting,
Sure.
it's relatable that you do put yourself out all the time, but you still have those feelings of nervousness.
Oh
And
yeah.
so that's reassuring. So actually, thank you for sharing that you are a little nervous. All right. So you have built such a recognizable brand. How did you find yourself leaning into marketing as a core strength? I mean, when I think of you, that's what I
Yeah.
think of you as, like a marketing master. So how did that how did that come about?
Absolute need, desperation. What other words could I say? So, my, man, where do I begin the story? Okay, so we're gonna go back to like circa 2010, and my wife and I were recently married, and I got a job. It was awesome. I got a job working as a like at a graphic design studio, doing motion graphics, animation. This is like really before I started shooting weddings, or like right around the same time, like that I began this. I was learning, how to create TV commercials and video. So I actually was a videographer before I was a photographer. Anyhow, I say all this because we were living in the small town that we had both attended college at, and this was also the small town that town that we were both involved in ministry in. I don't know if y'all know that I was involved in some ministry back in the day, and I guess I still am in a different way. But
Yeah.
uh, I had a really good experience, and my wife had a different experience. And if you can relate to this, if you're still maybe the town that you grew up in, or like it was like everybody knows everybody, and everyone's in
Yeah.
each other's business, and I felt like we couldn't go to the grocery store without just like it feeling like a weight. And this was a weight my wife was feeling, and this is a weight that I was feeling with her. And we really couldn't stay there anymore. Like that's how I felt. We needed to get out. And yet I had this job that I loved that was paying well. And in some ways it felt like this golden handcuff. So I was like, I'm making money and we're doing well. And this is our first year of marriage. And yet like we need to leave. And I don't know how we're going to leave. And so we picked up a camera together. She started photographing alongside me, and we started learning what we had taken from the videography side of things, bring that into photography. And that was all well and good. Like I was always decent at making things look good. I was an art major, so like we got that kind of side of things going. But that didn't mean clients were coming. And so I became obsessed with getting my name out there. I became obsessed with marketing and trial and error and testing and learning and testing and learning. And I learned a lot of things that didn't work. I learned a few things that did, but really just in order for us to leave. Like I think this is the thing that I would want people to hear. Like the aim isn't necessarily more money. The aim is the ability to say no. And for us, it was the ability to say no to our location, to an
Mhm.
environment that was unhealthy for us, to the feelings that we had in this town. And we wanted to be able to say no to that. It was freedom. And so we were able to build the photography business to the point that I was making more than where I was at. And I loved that job. It was great. But and then we headed out. We left. And then it just kept rolling from there.
And that's when you ended up where you are now?
No, that took us to Columbus. We were at Columbus for uh I don't know. I don't know how many years we were there. And that's where we continued to build the studio. And then from there, we kept bringing on more photographers. So at
Yeah,
one point we had like 5 photographers on our team.
that's cool.
And so yeah, yeah, it is cool. It's not recommended. But no, eventually we found our way here to Florida. And so, but that's a whole other journey. But the obsession of marketing came out of that need.
Yeah. No, and I think it's kind of good too that you touched on how many times you've moved because even just moving a few and where you moved, like you did moved entire states. I think even just moving a couple of hours sometimes can impact your market and people need
Dramatically.
to move for all kinds of reasons. And so
Yes.
I think that's a very relatable um thing that people go through in the photography industry.
Yeah.
And you're right. It really requires a higher level of marketing to get situated and, get business in that area. So, all right, what excites you the most about marketing, especially right now in
Yeah.
2025? And maybe how have things changed since you
I,
started?
yeah, I'm so excited for all this AI stuff. And I'm so excited for it, not because of what it's doing directly, but because of what it's doing indirectly. Like content is being like mass produced at scale. Uh, Everything's getting automated. I can't tell if I'm talking to a robot or a person anymore.
Oh,
Its quality is just so insane. And what terrifies me about that is the thing that I love about it. The thing I love about it uh, is that the opportunity for like real personal connection, the kind that you can't fake, is being the value of it is going through the roof. Like
mm-hmm,
it was already incredibly valuable to
mm-hmm,
take personal time to actually like connect with someone, to have a phone call, to make a video, to have like that direct one-to-one
mm-hmm.
communication. That was already valuable. Now it's like 10x.
Yeah,
And I love that inverse relationship. I think a lot of people are scared of all of the mass content creation. How are we going to keep up with this? And what does this mean? And all the automation, all this stuff. And meanwhile, I'm just like, man, this makes those elevator conversations just that much more meaningful. And so
yeah,
that excites me.
yeah. By the way, we're both real people. Ben's a real person. I'm a real person. You laugh, but
That
I
sounds like
actually,
something a robot would say. I was just saying,
you're
feels a little
right.
defensive, Catherine.
It does feel a little. No, I actually, for the first time, I mean, I have a very new YouTube channel. Like, I'm just dabbling in YouTube. And I have someone that, became a member of it's called the Wedding Photography Society, but it's like a group. Anyway, he joined and then I emailed him like personally. I was just like, oh, hey, just want to check in, blah, blah, blah. Like, I read your questionnaire. And he was like, oh, now that I know I'm talking to a real person. And I was like, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then for the first time this month, Ben, I got an inquiry whenever I asked where they heard about me. She said, chat, GPT.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is new. Like, even just in this month, those two things happening like in sync with one another, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So,
Yeah.
my husband's an architect. We were actually just talking before I hopped on the call with you about AI. I don't even know why it came up, but um, oh, I know why. I have a friend. I'm kind of digressing, but I have a friend who we both studied architecture and she sent me like a picture of her house that she's repainting and I could tell it
Yeah.
was an AI generated photo and I was like, do you think that architecture is in trouble? Because there are whole industries that,
Yeah.
as we know, have been like omitted. And, even with photography, I wonder like, what does this mean? So I appreciate that you touched on AI, but also the exciting things. Like when it comes to marketing, how quickly you can come up with an idea for what to do or how to market yourself. Right? I mean, don't you, yes, that's what I'm hearing you say is it's like, let's use it as a tool and even more so emphasize our personal brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just excited that its mere existence makes while it devalues content, it increases the value of personal connection. And I just get excited about that. I hope it forces more people to get out from behind their screens
Yeah.
and start showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so photographers can dread marketing as a whole, I actually fall in that category, believe it or not. Truly, it's something I struggle with.
Yeah.
Has this always come naturally to you? Or is it something that you've worked at?
Hmm.
And what would you say to someone who struggles with marketing like me?
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of like a head down person. What would you tell me?
I mean, I don't think I've always excelled at it. I think I've always been like someone who I love people. Like I've always been someone who just actually loves people. You know, I meet a lot of people who like they don't like people. No bad if that's you who's listening. My wife does not like people. It's all good. The fact that I won her over is just an actual godsend.
Well, at
But
least she
I,
liked you. Thank God for
yeah,
that.
it was a slow wear down, is what it was.
War down.
But for a Labrador like me, it was like that was great. So no, so I think I've always loved people and so and I love problem solving. And so you put those two things together and it's worked really well, those kind of strengths. You know, I think that I was given those strengths and then I've continued to practice and hone at it, you know. And so for the person who's struggling with it, there's a great Simon Sinek quote that I love. And it says, marketing is not the art of finding customers or attracting customers. It is the science of creating value for them. It's not just about like creating content, it's about producing value for the other person. And so becoming obsessed with the problem that the person has. That's what
Mm,
marketing is just becoming more obsessed with the problem than you are the solution. I think a lot of photographers are obsessed with the solution being, I make beautiful images. But in order to market well, you have to become obsessed with the client's problem. And
mm.
and I love that. I love getting obsessed with what the problem is and there's so much gold when you begin to do that. Um and actually start to produce value for people.
Yeah, that's a really great tip. I think if somebody listened to just that nugget, that's gold right there. This idea of getting in the mind of the person you're serving and that they can see it differently. Like we're consumed with the art and how, we're creating these images, but you're like, but what is their need? Like, what do they want? I love that so much. If someone is getting started and they're kind of or restarting. Maybe they're feeling stuck,
Yeah.
because that happens too. I feel like around year seven, I don't know what it is about year seven, but like
Year
people hit it.
7 is a doozy.
Year seven is not lucky. Like the year seven is unlucky. Um, but I feel like in that year, and even just when you're starting out too, it's like you want to get started or restart. So it's
Yeah,
like, what would you suggest for somebody? And maybe the advice is different for each of them, but
it's not.
yeah,
Year
okay.
7 for business is like year 10 in marriage. I don't know if anybody else is going to get that, but year 10, you either make it or you're not. It's like, that's
This
how
is
it is.
our 10-year vow renewal, Ben. Should we be worried?
Hey, listen, it's like, this is the deciding year for you. I don't know if you knew that. Year 10, you
Oh
either make it or
boy.
you're not. I don't know if we got too real there for you, but so, what I would say is and this actually is not only this is true for you if you're just starting off, but if you've been in business for a long time, this may be even more true. Is you have to be willing to slow down in order to go fast. And I think this is really challenging because there are so many things that feel urgent that we
Hmm.
constantly are running us. My inbox is constantly running me. Social media is constantly running me, and it's urgent, it's urgent, urgent. And slowing down in order to go fast, which is just to like to identify and to re-identify, like, what am I even doing?
Hmm.
What am I building here? Is
Hmm.
this going to serve me? I've seen far too many photographers, myself included, build something that does not serve them just because they're just building and building and building and building and building. And the thing that they built ends up being a wall around themselves. And they're like,
Hmm.
shit, this is not what I wanted. And
Hmm.
sometimes we gotta just slow down and consider, like, what is this that I'm building? And who am I building this for?
Hmm.
And what do those people really need? And if you've been in business for a while, what I've discovered, at least if you're like me, is there is a drift that can occur. And this drift occurs for a couple of reasons. Number one is there's an internal drift of complacency that I've seen play out for my own self. I've seen this play out for a number of other photographers too, who are in that, 5 to 10 year range. What I mean is you figured out something that worked and it worked well and you built a business and you start to just like forget just how much work it took. And there's a degree of
Oh yeah.
complacency that can start to like kick in, or even
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go. Like, it reminds me of an old dog who doesn't want to chase the ball anymore. Like, I don't want to go over there to that. I don't mind keep picking up the ball anymore. And you think you're going to
Right.
be okay. And then you realize, well, shit, you may look at your calendar and realize like things are slowing down. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that can happen from a drift internally of
Mm-hmm.
that drive. And then of course, I think there's a drift of the client. I think who we were serving when we first started, like they've drifted downriver, and we're like talking to someone across like directly across the river from us. They're not there anymore. Like, either they're down the river or I'm down the river, but like we're not talking the same. Like I'm just yelling at a tree now. Um, and so it's like slowing down and re-looking at like who am I serving, where are they at now, is this the same client, how have I
Mm-hmm.
changed, how have they changed, how has the market changed? And so I would say that it's slowing down in order to go fast. And in order to do that, by the way, you've got to schedule it. You will never wake up one day and be like, today's the day I'm going to look at all this, and it's not going to happen, because instead you're going to open your inbox and there's going to be somebody there with something to say that's going
Mm-hmm.
to run your whole day. And so you've got to schedule off the time. And my recommendation is every year you should schedule a time to slow down in order to go fast. I would schedule like a long weekend, could be a staycation, could be like a go get an Airbnb in town.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is your just like like that's your time to like really look at what worked over the last year,
Mm-hmm.
what did not work over the last year, and for the things that didn't work, what's wanted and needed from you, from your business, from your life, from your relationships, the requests that need to get made, and to look at those things of the drift that I was sharing. And so I think that's what we need to do.
I love that. That's really good advice. It is easy to do that, what you described. I mean, we all get kind of caught up. I love that you talked about scheduling and slowing down and being really intentional and looking at and the thing that worked, like you said, 7 years ago, that's not going to work today. It's different clients, different year. I mean, even just last year to this year, I feel like my clients are doing different things. I
Mm,
feel like the way that they're even like sharing or not sharing images and how they're showing that, like, it is interesting.
mm.
It is very interesting. So, love that advice. Now, as far as, let me ask this, like, is there a mistake that you've seen? And I hate to say like a mistake, because I mean, nothing really is bad, but are there some mistakes that you're seeing photographers making? Or just that you've observed in terms of the way
Yeah,
that we're presenting ourselves or like marketing in the industry?
I just think it's not happening enough.
Mm,
I just don't think people are talking enough about the things that they need to be talking about. I think that when we have something to say or to offer, we say it one time in an Instagram story with a shitty post with no call to action. And then we're like, this didn't work. It's like, well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, candidly, I think it's that. I think that too many photographers think that they're annoying people because we're people pleasers, and God forbid we annoy someone. Listen, you're gonna annoy people. It's like
Yeah.
I'm annoying like a third of your audience right now by even saying like, and that was really hard for me to accept, because I am such a people pleaser. I was like, God, please, do you like me? Please like me? When like I need everybody to like me. And when I realized how absolutely insane that was, like that level of expectation that I put on myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, like it was so honestly arrogant that I would actually think that I had the ability to stand for anything that
Mm-hmm.
that would make everybody like me. So it became far more accepting to me to be like, no, it really makes sense that like there's a lot of people who just they don't like my voice. They don't like
I
like
love
it could
your
be,
voice.
well, but who knows what it is, right? Like, or the things that come out of it, or my face, or I don't know. But like that actually makes a lot more sense to me. Like the thing
Yeah.
that always gets me is I remember I went and I got 3 kids, and we were watching the trailer to The Lion King, arguably one of Disney's best movies. Okay, no, I'm not
The
saying it's the
best.
best, but it's like
No,
it's
it's the
definitely
best. I
it's
love
up
The
there.
Lion King.
And I'm looking at the trailer on YouTube for The Lion King, and it has like 40,000 like thumbs downs. Now this isn't the remake. This is like the OG. It was like 1997 or something. I don't even know what year it was.
Who doesn't like The Lion King?
This is exactly what I was thinking. And I was like, you know what? if that many people can thumbs down The Lion King, I think that that makes a lot of sense that a lot of people would thumbs down me.
You know what?
And so
You're right. You're right about that. Do you feel like you just don't care anymore though? Or I mean, have you been able to get over that completely? That fear of like, what if someone doesn't like me? What if they don't like my voice?
no,
Which
no,
again, I
not at
think you
all.
should
I
just
care
keep
so much.
podcasting. Your voice is like the radio voice of the century.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you just kind of don't worry anymore at all?
No, because that's not true either. But what I find is when I talk about it, it helps me. It's kind of like when I said, like, I'm feeling nervous at the beginning of this. It's like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to like deny the feeling. I'm just trying to acknowledge it and to discuss it and to talk about it out loud. So I can just like I can have more control over it than it has over me. Because for the
Yeah.
longest time, my desire to please people had more control over me. It brought me into an anxiety. It changed the decisions I was making. It impacted
Hmm.
my own relationships, and so just
Yeah.
by saying it, it's not like it goes away,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't just disappear. It's just now I have more control over it than it has over me. I can just it's kind of like it's like a flashlight. It's like hard for things to grow when they're in the light. So if I can
Hmm.
just say it, if I can just talk about it, it's like, hey, it's actually it takes down its intensity. It takes down the impact that it has on me. So no, it doesn't disappear, you know.
Yeah.
I just have come to I think maybe accept it a little bit more is all.
Yeah. No, that is a hard thing. Like I struggle a lot with being controversial.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'll tell my husband something about, I don't know, something that could be perceived as controversial, but then it's like to say that publicly feels so scary because, and it doesn't even have to be something political. Like it could be something kind of specific to the industry, but that
Yeah.
maybe I feel like is not going to be the same perspective everyone has. And it's like,
Sure.
I might say that one on one, but I have a hard time saying that publicly. But I sometimes think doing that could help really find your people,
Yeah.
like I really love people who are sharing their perspective and it's quite entertaining also
Yeah. And
to be an
I
observer
think
of, but
it's I think so. Jordan Peterson talks about this. It's like saying anything is dangerous. Like just
mhm,
to speak it's dangerous, right? Because it's now you've opened yourself up to anything. So I don't think it's just being willing to say something controversial. And he says this. It's also the willingness to like have a dialogue, and maybe you say something controversial, and then you learn. You know what I mean? Like you learn from saying it. Like maybe somebody says they give a rebuttal to the controversy or
ooh, I
whatever,
like
and
that.
then you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's a really good point. Like it's not just being willing to say, but it's also being willing to listen. You know,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people think that if they say something controversial, that like that's the hill they got to die on, and I think it's more of and it's probably how people peg you, right? They tell you that that's the hill that you're going to die in. I was like, no, no, no. I'm saying something. I get that it's dangerous, and I'm willing to. I want to talk. I want to work this out. I want to see like how could I improve? How could I get better? How could I discover a more nuanced perspective around this? But for right now, with my limited knowledge, I'm going to say this, and then
Yeah.
now I'm going to hear what else is going on. I don't know.
Yeah. No, no, no. I think that's a great point. And to be honest, like I think there's a lot of fear in general around putting yourself out there, creating a personal brand, you know, showing up with consistency online. And so I think this is good to kind of touch on because it could be something that other people can, sort of connect with.
Yeah,
I know
and
you're big on, oh, go ahead.
one
Yeah.
last thought on this.
No, 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 go ahead.
Like what like if the concern is am I going to annoy people, you will. If the concern is this cringe, it is. It's like there's and that's like whoever it annoys wasn't your client ever anyhow, and so I'm
Yeah.
so okay annoying a bunch of people that were already never going to engage with me in a meaningful way. But then there's going to be a whole other set of the audience that's going to be like, that was
Yeah.
that was really dumb and I loved it. Like that was just that was
Oh,
perfect.
yeah. Can we just for a minute, your ads?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good example. Like I have a lot of, I mean, I don't know if a lot is the right word, but like weekly, I'll get some hate comment, right? Cringe, or like just whatever it is. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
so makes sense that
Awesome.
you think this is cringy. It was totally not for you. But then
Yeah.
for everyone that says that, I have five that are like, this was great. This
Yeah.
actually made me laugh, you know?
No,
And so I'm just okay
definitely.
walking that line.
Yeah. Like they stand out too because Oh my gosh, I swipe past like so many ads and things that I see, and I'm just like, it's vanilla, it's vanilla. And I think as a non-vanilla person, which I can probably come off as vanilla, but I'm actually not in a
Hmm.
lot of ways. And I think when I see things that stand out to me, and I'm sure everybody feels this way, like we're all complex individuals. And so when you see something that stands out as, oh, Ben really put himself out there, or so and so is doing something different, like
Yeah.
we admire it, And I think that you can only get there though by conquering the what ifs, or the is somebody going to give me a hate message or whatever. Someone said a long time ago, like, you made it when somebody says something negative or whatever.
Yeah,
Because you're,
I've heard it the other way, or a different version, similar thing, different version.
what do they say?
Is unless you've received a hate letter in your inbox, you're not marketing hard enough. Like unless you
Yeah.
received a negative comment, you're not marketing hard enough. That's your indicator.
Yeah. Because your reach is small and you're playing it safe. So, um, okay, so you're big on, storytelling, and even just talking to you,
Hmm.
it's really interesting to hear you speak. I think you just have a way of saying things that's really interesting. Um, what is your advice to photographers who want to market themselves through story, but don't really know what that means, or like
Yeah.
where to begin with that type of marketing that you're so good at?
Yeah. Well, I think they don't know where to begin because they haven't taken inventory over the stories in their lives. Like even the story that I shared at the very beginning
Mm-hmm.
around our hometown and wanting to get out, like that 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 was a story that I took note of. Like that was a significant thing, and I was like, if I had never taken note of it, it would have just disappeared, like all the infinite other stories that have happened. And your stories don't have to be the time that you almost died and they resuscitated you three times, or like what, like it doesn't have to be these things. I think a lot of times it's this little stories. There's a book that I read and I cannot for the life of me remember it. It was something story and I apologize, can't quite cite it, but I will tell you what I learned from this book, and it's a great takeaway. It's a very practical takeaway for the listeners, is that every day you have stories that took place that day, and some of them are more impactful than others. But the reason we struggle to tap into this because we're just not keeping record of it. And so he has this thing, the author, that he calls homework for life. And at the end of his day, he just has a spreadsheet. And at the end of his day, as he's laying in bed before he closes his eyes, in a spreadsheet, so that way it's not intentionally not a paragraph. He's not writing out the entire story. He just has the date and then like a 1 to 2 sentence line about
Hmm,
one thing that happened this day that he never wants to forget. Right?
interesting.
It could be, something your kids said when they came home from camp. Like my kids
Mm-hmm.
are at summer camp, and it could be an interaction. It could be, who knows? It could be anything. It could be a global event that took place this day, but just something that happened that you just never want to forget.
Hmm.
And he does this every single day. It's homework for life every single day.
Wow.
And one of the interesting things about this is you start to create a habit of like also identifying what are like the impactful, interesting things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
They start to show up then when you're coming up with like, what do I even say on my stories today? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
actually, I could share this thing that happened last week, and I have it. It's actually there. And a couple other impactful things is life starts to slow down. Does anybody feel like life is just going way too fast?
So
Life
fast.
starts to actually slow down when you start to identify core memories from each day. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like now there's a memory, there's something attached to it, and it's almost like a very focused version and yet a very quick version of like a journal. It's just like this, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to forget this, right? And it's really cool to look back, by the way, like to look back on like the last month of like, oh, I remember when that happened, I totally forgot that
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah. And there's also something really beautiful about that?
mm, yeah, yeah, it definitely brings like it brings value to so many mundane things that happen, and again, it's not like these big grand things. It can just be like
Mm-mm.
really small things. So I would encourage people to start doing that.
I think that's a really great, for multiple reasons. I think that's a really great practice to get into the habit of, because we do forget about the small things that happen. But if you're just looking at like one thing, yeah, and you are trying to figure out like, well, what do I share on my stories? You don't maybe need to share like everything the entire day, but that
Mhm.
one thing, there's going to be one thing that you can share from that day. I think that's really cool. This is so random, but do you have one of those digital aura frames?
I do.
Okay. Do y'all put like everything on it?
My wife does. I don't. But yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that like something will happen. By the way, for those of you who don't know, the digital aura frames, it's a frame that syncs to your phone, where you can send the pictures from your phone
Yep.
to it, and then just scrolls through the pictures, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
will be shocked. Like we will be out bowling,
Yeah.
and then I'll come home and the pictures, it reminds me of a same day slideshow. You know, the same day slideshow
Yeah.
magic, wedding photographers. We're like, how did they were showing a picture from the
Yes.
ceremony when it just happened? That's how I feel when I come home from bowling and there's a picture of me like with, with a
Yes.
strike and yeah, that happens. Yeah.
But it's cool because, kind of in the same way. Now, this is from a marketing perspective, right? Like what you're talking about. But that's why I said this is just a random aside. But I think the frame there's an appreciation for those mundane moments. Like we put like FaceTime screenshots, we put like little
Mm.
drawings of the kids, like all of these things that could be forgotten, but the aura kind of helps us remember it. So in a way, it's almost like you're creating like an aura frame of your life moments through this homework exercise that you can
Yeah.
market with and tell stories with and start to practice doing those things on a regular basis. So I think that's super fascinating. But how do you recommend that people show up consistently online without burning out? You mentioned
Mm.
earlier scheduling time to, create a plan and think about what you're doing. Do you also schedule like for the year, for the month? I mean, yeah, like in terms of actually executing. That's I think a
Yeah.
hard thing for people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so I was trained in oil painting. I think I mentioned at the very beginning, like as an artist. And I'll never forget, like I would do these oil paintings, right? Stand in front of a canvas. It'd be these 6 feet tall canvas. These things would take hundreds of hours to paint. And so like time was always of the essence. And I would be holding like a dozen brushes in one hand. And each brush would have a different, swatch of paint, a different gradient of gray or something on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would stand for the canvas and I would have it in this one hand and my hand would be like positioned in this way where I could like I just knew exactly where each one was and I just go and I paint and I paint and paint. And it would be so frustrating if I ever had to put that hand of brushes down because the act of putting those brushes down was a reset. I mean, it was a reset, and it's probably like almost like a half-hour reset of just getting everything back organized
Yeah.
in my hand in the right place, where mine knew where it was, getting back into that flow state. I mean, at least a half hour. I mean, and it was just devastating because people would come in. They'd be like, "Hey," they come to the painting studio, and I felt like I'd have to greet them, or whatever. And I just remember I'd hold this fistful of brushes, and I just refused to put it down.
Yeah.
And so I would go and greet people, or if I was hungry, I'd just keep the brushes in my hand and just be eating food with these brushes, just to maintain that like I'm in this mode. And so I
Mm-hmm.
say all this
Mm-hmm.
because batching is everything. And so like you are a creative.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like holding a handful of 20 brushes when you are in a creative state of generation, you're generating content. If you switch out of that to go and comment, to like to even post the content, to put it in a folder, it's like setting down those brushes. And
Mm.
so I would say like time block creation, if you can, a creation day. Like even for myself with our podcast, I just have 2 days a month. They're the first Thursday and Friday of each month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm recording all my podcasts. I'm keeping all the
Wow.
brushes in one hand and I'm going to batch them because I'm in creation mode. I'm in interview mode. I'm in
Yeah.
conversation mode. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing for creating content on social media. I would say batch it and literally just the batching the creation process
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
recording. Yeah, I would highly encourage that.
Is that the furthest out that you've ever batched? Have you ever batched out longer than like a month? And is that sort of impossible? I mean, does that feel like is there such thing as batching too far out in your opinion?
Well, I think now we're getting into repurposing because once you start batching content like creation, I'm sure some people do it. I never have, but I have scheduled content for like a year,
Wow.
and that is through the process of reusing content. And side note, photographers, nobody saw your shit the first time. Like, just post it again. Like, I gotta say it.
Yeah.
Like 3% maybe of your audience saw it the first time. And so to repost a piece of content that you did 3 months ago not only is fair, it actually could be a good idea
Yeah.
because now a new 3% will see it.
Hmm.
If somebody did see it before, I don't know if you're like me, but like I see stuff that I've seen before and I'm like, man, I'm so glad this came back up in my feed. That's hilarious. I enjoyed that. Whatever it is, right? As long as it's valuable, I'm like, I'm really glad I saw it again.
Right.
And it is just as valuable the second time, if not more valuable. And if somebody has already seen it, they just again, they're either not going to care, which is
Mm-mm.
like 99% of people, they just don't care. It's going to keep scrolling anyhow,
Yeah.
or they're going to really care and they're going to unfollow you. And that person should have never been following you in the first place, which I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that is like 0.1% of people. And that 0.1% should have already been gone.
Yeah.
So,
And they may have a problem, but like, who cares?
yeah. So I say I'm all for reposting of content. Now I aim to choose stuff that is about like 3 months or but that is a completely what's it called made up metric that I've determined for myself.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like there's no magic behind that. Like, well, once it's three
Right.
months old, then you can repurpose it. I'm like, if anything is 90 days old, no one's gonna remember any of it.
No. No.
So yeah, I would say repost. I think that's totally okay. Now, maybe not repost everything, but like to sprinkle that in, I think
Hmm.
is totally appropriate.
Yeah. Or even like a mix, maybe of, if you have some older content, maybe you mix it in with some new content and kind of
Exactly. Yeah,
change it up.
remix it.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, repurpose it. I mean, some of the things that you could
It's
do
really
is
cool.
even just changing the call to action can make a
Hmm.
big difference. The caption on a same piece of content, different caption, same piece of content, different call to action. Another thing that I do this with my ads. So I'll make a single, we'll say a body copy of that, like the main core of the ad, right? Say it's
Hmm.
a 10-second reel or something. So it'll be the same 10 seconds every time, but I'll record a different 1 to 3 second intro for it. So,
Like
and I'll
that.
make like 10 different versions of an intro, and then it goes into the thing. And that is probably one of the number one metrics to the success of any piece of content that I produce is that first 1 to 3 seconds. Because
Yeah.
I'll see a click through rate or just an engagement, a watch time change dramatically. Like the difference between the one that hits and the one that doesn't, it will be like thousands of views different. So
That's crazy. Do you how do you I'm thinking about your content specifically and your attention grabbing nature of it. Like,
yeah.
where do you come up with these ideas, Ben?
Well, some of it is just me being zany, right? And so like there's a there's a degree of like, this will be funny.
Yeah.
What if I just drop the phone to start and then I pick up
Right.
the phone? Like, because
Okay.
I'm thinking of things that would be actual, like it's a pattern interrupt. You know what I mean? Just like
You're right,
what's
right,
going to
right.
interrupt people, right? So like there's certainly that. And then I mean, I'm not reinventing the wheel. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important for everybody to know is like you don't have to like your photography is such a great place to be completely creative and inventive and test and learn. Reminds me of there was an advertisement once for a bank, and the bank said like, we bank differently, we bank creatively, or something like that. And I was like, that's really like I don't want you to be creative and different with my money. I
Yeah.
need you to be consistent.
Can
Don't
we be
invent
the
the
same?
yeah, I want you to be a don't reinvent the playbook here.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a win. I think that because we're creatives, we think we need to be like innovative and creative in everything we do. And guys, there's just stuff that works. Like there's just playbooks, there's like structure. And so even there's accounts that you can follow that have great content ideas and hooks and opening like, hey,
Hmm.
try this week. It's a great pattern interrupt.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I'm watching that content, I'm getting ideas, and then I'm taking it and just applying it into my own industry. And so I'm
neat.
not trying to reinvent the wheel all the time. Sometimes I come up with something silly. I'd be like, what'll happen if I wear a wig? Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I was curious about that and I think kind of leaning into your personality. Like, I appreciate that it kind of sheds a little light onto who you are, like you are a little silly and kind of fun. And so it shows that side of you. And so there's an authenticity to that marketing that you're
Yeah.
doing, that you're taking it and like making it your own.
Thanks.
Would you say that there are platforms that either are like really working or are not working anymore. So like for example, I started my business in like 2009-ish, and like remember they used to have like the blog readers? Did you
Yeah,
used to like subscribe to people's
like an
blogs,
RSS feed.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
an RSS. Like they don't do that anymore, but right now I know there's another type of like email subscription that people are doing, but
Hmm.
is blogging still a thing? Are there certain
Yeah.
platforms that you feel work well for photographers to market on? Like, should they be on TikTok? Should they be on Instagram? Should they be on Threads? Like the platforms, because let's be honest, we don't have time to do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. I
What do you
get
think
that.
about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is where I'm like, okay, so we'll talk about blogs first. Yes, 100% blogs are greatly important. That sounded like a good sentence. Greatly important, but not client blogs. I mean, client blogs I think are great for client experience and stuff, and for like internally linking to other pages on your website. But like I think like long tail keyword value based blog posts are really valuable to be doing. When I say all of that jargon, creating blog posts that solve the problems that your clients are searching for just before they go to hire you.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
creating
Yep.
content, like for a wedding photographer, creating content around like, if you know your target client is ones that work with wedding planners, they're hiring them before they hire you. And so if I were to create
Hmm.
a list of like my top 5 favorite wedding planners in my location, and made a piece of really valuable content around that, I
Hmm.
interviewed the planners, I brought
Hmm.
them in, like that can rank really well. It could perform very well. Not only does it build relationship with those planners, but now you're going to be returning as a when people go to search that, and it can really help to get your shoe in the door and just begin to create awareness for like really dream clients of yours. So
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I hate social media. And I think everybody hates social media. They're just unwilling to admit it, because to do so would mean they'd no longer get to complain about it. And I think we like the ability to complain about something. Um,
You're gonna take away our complaining ability if
yeah, I got
we
it.
hop off
No,
of social.
I just think that like I think we hate feeling like we have to show up places. And
Yeah.
I think if we did truly take inventory over our life, that we would see a dramatic net negative on the impact that social media has on your psyche, your mental health, your marriage, your
Hmm.
relationships. I just think it would overall have a net negative. And I think most of us we love the payoff too much. We're too addicted to it. We'll never like that whole bit right there is not going to fly. Like
Yeah.
there's some people listening, they're
People
like,
just
yeah,
turned
yeah,
on
yeah.
they all just turned off the podcast.
Yeah,
Everyone. It's
exactly.
just me and you now.
Well, so and this is how you know you're next is when you start to come up with like, no, that's not me. No, no, not
Yeah.
me.
Right.
Like, so, okay. So I say all that because like I think TikTok is not a good place to be.
Yeah.
I'll just be honest. I just don't think that there's a lot of like good that's happening there. And so, but I think it's great for your business. I've just decided that there's no amount of money that I could receive that will allow me to compromise on kind of core values that I have, and
I
that's kind of one
appreciate
of them.
that.
So I think listen, if you want to be someplace that's great for your business, TikTok could be one of those places. Instagram is still valuable. Reels are still valuable. It is. I just I've thrown in the towel on that, and I've accepted the consequences.
Yeah. So you're not on Instagram at all right now?
I have a VA who posts on my behalf.
Okay. That's awesome, Ben. I appreciate that because I mean, although albeit controversial, speaking of controversy, it is true. I mean, it is like there is research around what you're saying. And I mean, I'm like 70% into this book called The Anxious Generation. And,
Mm-hmm.
it was a big wake up call even for me with kids and my own social media usage. I like downloaded, my friend talked about on social, this app called the Opal app.
Mm-hmm.
And I downloaded it, paid for it. And honestly, it has saved so much wasted time for me because it's not like you can't just ignore it. It like legit shuts you out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sad that I have to monitor myself like that, but it's highly addictive. We all know that. And so you kind of have to weigh like, how are you using it? What are you doing? Can you hire a VA? Because I'm not sure from a business perspective, at least for my clientele, that they're on TikTok
Mm-hmm.
personally. That's just my market. So I don't really utilize TikTok at all
They're
unless it's
on
for
it.
education. Are they
They're
though?
they're 100% on it. They're probably just on it though, like for their own, like they're on it. They're just scrolling and then
Yeah.
laughing and enjoying whatever it is that they're enjoying. But maybe they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
buying. But they're definitely on it.
Yeah. I think
I mean, my
Instagram though.
grandma, I'm not my grandma, my mother-in-law is on it, like all the time.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
On TikTok?
Yes.
That's
Not she's
wild.
not creating content, but they're
No,
they're
no, 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 no. She's
just
like
they're
scrolling.
consuming content. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I really personally am not on TikTok, like personally. So I guess I assume other people aren't on it, but you're right. Like they probably are. I think Instagram, I even used it recently to help me find a photographer to shoot with me, like out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it fascinating the ways in which I was kind of searching around Instagram, but I think there are ways around it, like what you're describing, where you have somebody posting for you. I also have somebody that helps me with my social, and it just sort of limits and keeps me intentional.
Yeah.
So I like that. What would you say to the photographer that feels, oh, actually, okay, wait. One more thing about platforms. I don't
Okay.
want to move on just quite yet. Google reviews.
Yeah.
This was like a very specific and also like kind of personal question because I actually had a ton of like Google reviews, like I don't know, over 100 5-star. And for some reason, Google like deleted my entire
Google is,
what?
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
cannot get it back, Ben. So I'm like,
Yeah.
is it worth fighting this fight? And also for the listener, it's like you invest, and I can't even see those testimonials. I don't even know what those clients said anymore. I don't have access to them. So
Yeah.
I'm like rethinking this testimonial thing moving forward. And I'd be curious to know, as a marketing expert, what do you think?
Yeah. Did you change locations or did you switch from a service base or a local business to a service base? And not a local, but
Potentially.
like an address base.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it was an address issue.
yep. Google is scary because of the power that they have. And also, like, everything's just ran by robots over there now. So, like, I actually lost all mine as well because I moved. And when I moved, they suspended my account for suspicious activity. And when I said, no,
Really?
I literally just moved and I'm
Move.
updating my address, locked me out of everything and I can't get any of it. So, okay, I digress. So,
Okay, so
but
we are in the same camp. Like you never got yours back?
yeah. And they're very important.
Wow.
And they're very important.
They're very
Uh,
important. And I can't even
very
read them anymore to like,
extremely important. Now, maybe not maybe, absolutely less important for you, who's already well established, who already has a ton of authority, who already has. Now, you should still create a new, Google My Business, account. I would create a new
okay,
one then.
you would.
I would. It's still very important. But
Mm-hmm.
like again, you have a ton of authority already. You have lead sources coming from other places. But like, yeah, it's if you're gonna get any reviews, send them to Google first and foremost. They are the arbiter of
Yeah.
well, they're the arbiter of Chat GPT. It's like you were talking about how you were showed up on GPT. I mean, GPT is just using like SEO
Interesting.
like in order to return its results. So the reason that you
Yeah.
got returned on GPT is because you were returned on for search as it
Yeah.
was. You just was searching there. And so does that make sense?
No,
Like it's
that absolutely makes sense. And one of the things that I haven't done yet that I plan to do, it's like as a note in my inbox, is to literally go in chat and ask why I was suggested and like how you can be suggested. Feels very meta to do this inside of the platform, but like it'll tell
yeah,
you, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So like to ask
yeah.
what have you ever done it? Have you ever asked?
I haven't, but I haven't asked chat, but I've done
Chat.
a ton of research into this. Now I'm no like, listen, I know the 20% that's going to get you 80% of the results. I'm
Yeah,
not like the
yeah,
guy who's like completely obsessed. Who's like, and if you do this and
yeah.
I don't know. So, I mean, it's taking nobody knows the exact indicators for like why a
hmm
website would rank. Like they always release like here's the new notes for
hmm
kind of
hmm
our like what we're taking into consideration, but there isn't like this is going to be 30% of the whatever. But like we know a few things,
hmm
and it's like ChatGPT is dumb it only knows what you give it. And what we've given it is how Google ranks things.
Hmm.
It's so it's not like it's not like it's reinventing something. It's
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
using the same metrics, you know. And so whatever keywords you put into ChatGPT, like that's what it's going to be returning for you, more or
Gotcha.
less. I mean, like within, there's some sway there, but like, your backlinks are still one of the biggest indicators of like the authority that your site has, is what
Hmm.
other websites are linking back to it. And so
Yeah.
like you can have all of your on-site stuff, your h tags and your meta description and meta titles and all that stuff can be perfect, but if no one is like giving you a vote of confidence by linking back to you, it's like, it's not like you're going to suddenly rank. So your site is already killing it because you've got a ton of backlinks. It's like you've been around for a long time. Like there's all these indicators that Google has, and ChatGPT is
Yeah.
just tapping into those.
So what Ben is saying is make sure you have other people linking back to you in your website.
It's
That's
one of
huge.
the biggest things you can be doing. Assuming, I mean, make sure your on-site stuff is set up properly.
Sure.
One of the easiest things to do is just like get your on. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, literally just do a quick search.
Hmm.
What does Ben mean by on-site SEO, and how can I make sure my homepage is correct? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
this is to where you just pull levers, right? It's like, here, go do this thing. It's very like analytical. I
Yeah.
should only have one H tag, and it should be my niche and location. Got
Yeah.
it. I go make that change.
Like done. Okay, love it. All right. I think probably one of the biggest complaints or concerns maybe that photographers have is, why am I not getting enough inquiries? Why am I getting ghosted?
Hmm.
I'm not getting enough bookings. What would you say to the photographer that is feeling that way right now in their business?
Yeah. I would say that ice melts at exactly 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And you may be doing a lot of things, and you may be, we'll say, warming up the room, but it's still only 30 degrees. It's not going to melt until it's 32. Things happen slowly and then all at once. And so I think a lot of people are like, you've been working for a while and you've been chugging away and you haven't seen the ice start to melt. You haven't seen that take off. And there is kind of like this critical mass that can occur. And so I would say keep showing up. I
Mm,
would say be kind to yourself in this process. I would say put your blinders on,
mm-hmm.
meaning like don't be looking at Alice and all the clients Alice has got, like just focus on you and where you're at, and it's going to keep you showing up a lot more. So that's what I would say. I
Hmm.
would say that.
I like that. Would you say that that could parlay into mindset? Like, is that kind of a mindset thing too? Or would you say that you have some sort of mindset advice for someone?
Well, I think a lot of us have we have it backwards. We have high expectations and we have low standards. And I think it's mostly because we lie to ourselves often and we disappoint ourselves. And so why would we have high standards? Let me explain.
Yeah, I need more of this.
What I mean is, like, if you had an employee who constantly said, I'll be there at 10, and then they showed up at 11:30 each day, would you give that employee a raise? Would you give them more
Mm,
responsibility? Would you give them more
mm,
money? No. And yet here we are saying, like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to get up at 9 and I'm going to do that blog post. And I know it's just you, but that lie to yourself, it impacts the respect that you even have internally. And it also starts to increase the things that you tolerate. It's like you're tolerating this behavior within your own psyche. And you start to tolerate from others, and so I think that if we started to treat our business as if we were actually working for somebody else, and if we didn't show up in the way that we said we were, if we didn't
hmm.
do the commitments that we expressed we would, that we would get fired. And some of you have already gotten fired and you just don't realize it because it's your own job and you're at home still and you think you
Hmm.
still have a job and you don't. No one's told you you're fired. You fired yourself. Like, does that make sense what I'm trying to say here?
It
So
actually does.
when I said keep your, I think a lot of people have their expectations high and their standards low. It's like our expectation is like, all right, I'm going to start posting, I'm going to get here we go. I'm going to do the SEO stuff that Ben talked about. I'm going to start ranking for SEO so I can show up on, ChatGPT or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so we
Mm-hmm.
say we're going to go and we do this stuff. Our standards are, or our expectation is that we're going to make the changes to our homepage and we're going to get to page 1 next week. Our expectations are extremely high, but our standards are low, meaning we bail. Like this stuff doesn't happen fast. People love the word fast. It doesn't happen fast. It doesn't happen as quickly as Alice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It worked for Alice, you know, and then we bail. We go to the next shiny thing, or we go and we make this like a statement, this internal decree that like SEO doesn't work. The amount of
Mm-hmm.
times that we have said these things about like Facebook ads don't work, SEO doesn't work, uh, word of mouth marketing doesn't work. It's like, well, it didn't work for you the way that you did it in the amount of time that you gave it to work. And instead, I would encourage you to start the discipline of keeping your expectations low and your standards high.
Mm.
This means that you keep showing up. It's like you extend the horizon of whatever it is that you're aiming for, knowing that doing the right thing is always the right thing. And if I keep showing up and I keep putting in everything that I got,
Mm-hmm.
that like you're going to be moving in the direction that you need to be moving. And so like even for me, I did an a Facebook Live back when that was a popular thing. Every single day I did a live video,
Yeah.
and I did it for a couple of years. And then I did the same thing with Instagram Reels. I did an Instagram Reel every single day for like 2 years. My expectations were extremely low. And I got to tell you, it was low. I mean, I had like, it was crickets. It was like two people watching, two people watching, two people watching, one person watching, but my standard for myself was, it was a commitment to myself
Wow.
that like, I'm on this path. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I suck. I'm willing to look a fool
Hmm.
so that tomorrow I will be a little bit better. And the next day I'll
Wow.
be a little bit better. And so I think that a lot of us, we have really high expectations and we've got low standards, and we
Wow.
need, I think we need to adjust. I think we need to adjust.
That's incredible. And kudos to you for having that level of commitment. That's a lot harder to achieve than we probably care to admit to ourselves. Like consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've built a massive following, which I'd love for you to share about that community. I want to end on that because I really, those last two questions I think really hit home, even for me. Um, and so I want you to share about your community, where photographers can find you, where they can go to dig deeper. I know you have some free resources. So can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about those things?
Yeah, for sure. I would just
Yeah.
say, if you enjoy, my voice doesn't annoy you, you can listen to our podcast. Catherine, looking forward to having you on. It's just a Six Figure Photography podcast, SIX Photography. It's iTunes, Spotify. So just, I would say, go listen to that. That'd be awesome. I'd love to have you tune in. And then one of the things that gets really practical, because I think some of the stuff I'm sharing is a little, I mean, it's good, it's needed, and it's sometimes a little pie in the sky, a little bit like, okay, so what do I do? If you're looking for what to do, I put together 30 ways that you can get clients that aren't using paid ads. It's like 30 fresh, creative, new ways that you could be implementing to get new leads. And I would encourage you to go check that out. I split it up over 3 days because there's a lot of content and it's just pure gold. And listen, if only like 5 of them are like, that was awesome, that's my aim, is like give you 5 things that you're like, yes, I know what to do now for the month of July or whatever. So you can get that at 6SIX figure photography, like not photographer, 6figurephotography.com /30, the number 30, 30. It's 30 ways to get clients.
Love it. Thank you so much. I feel like the past hour for me has gone by so fast. You're very good with the way you explain things. It's easy to listen to and digest. I feel like personally I've been impacted by what you've said because of the way you explain it
Mhm.
and the truth behind it. And so I just wanted to say that personally, I feel like I've been able to get some good takeaways just from listening to you explain it in a way that feels digestible,
Mm,
which goes back to your ability to tell stories. So, um, great job. And thank you for your time. I know that
thanks,
you are
Catherine.
very busy and, you've got a lot going on. So, yeah, this was so much fun. This was so much fun, Ben. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate you so much. You're a great interviewer. Great, great, great. Just it was just fun to have a conversation with you. So thank you.